The Battle of Coruscant is an absolute spectacle, and although I do have some issues with it, it's hard not to appreciate the sheer scope and size of the engagement. Various diverse legend sources have given both the CIS and the Republic thousands of capital ships, and really the fact that Revenge of the Sith starts with the CIS attacking Coruscant, the heart of the Republic, really shows the progression of the Clone Wars between movies. That being said, there are some oddities. First of all, when the invisible hand goes down after its exchange with the Garlara, notably it doesn't impact on the Coruscanti planetary shield. Now, one explanation could be, well, the Coruscant shield was down because the Separatists had just raided the planet and had either overwhelmed the shield or destroyed the shield generators. Another option, and this is one that I will be refuting throughout this video, is that Coruscant itself didn't have a planetary shield. Logically, I guess that would make some sense. Coruscant is an absolute hub for traffic. Perhaps it would be too difficult having to raise and lower the shield to let commercial, personal, and industrial vehicles through. However, we know from Book 2 of the X-Wing series and other more recent source material that Coruscant did in fact have a shield. It would be fully activated at times of war, or even when threat levels were high. For example, the Empire was at risk of being attacked by the New Republic after Endor, so they kept the shield lit the entire time and simply took down portions to let traffic through. Obviously, with thousands of ships above your planet raining debris and, well, perhaps turbo lasers, you would want your planetary shield active if at all possible. And we know in fact that the lack of the shield did cause serious damage to the Ecumenopolis' surface. So, what's going on here? Well, interestingly enough, the Revenge of the Sith Incredible Cross-Sections book, which I know I have criticized in the past, does offer what I believe to be a compelling answer. As a bit of background, we know that the CIS was able to launch essentially a surprise attack on the center of civilization because of secret hyperspace routes that Chancellor Palpatine was more than happy to supply. Because of the weirdness of the deep core, and I guess the lack of Republic presence, the Separatists were able to collect thousands of warships, which they then used to assault the planet. They left hyperspace, moved in and destroyed the orbiting Republic fleet, then sending troops to the ground to capture Palpatine personally. However, and this is where things get interesting, before the CIS forces could flee, the Incredible Cross-Section tells us, and I quote, that thousands of Republic warships engaged the Invisible Hand within Coruscant's atmosphere. At that point, the planetary shields were raised, and given the fact that the ships were technically fighting in atmosphere and were under the shield, they were prevented from escaping. So this not only explains why the Invisible Hand was able to crash on the planet without bumping up against a shield, but also why the CIS couldn't just leave upon securing Palpatine. Well, that and the fact that his capture was clearly meant as a test for Anakin Skywalker, so he didn't want to run anyway. I will say though, because there is some confusion about planetary shields, you can't just fly through one. Any sort of contact will most likely destroy your ship. The X-Wings don't fly through a planetary shield when they approach the first Death Star, for example. That's something completely different. However, when they approach the second Death Star, they have to pull away from the station at the last minute because they're being jammed and the shields are still up. If they had kept flying, the impact would have destroyed the ships. We see something similar with the Lusankya, which of course was trapped under the shields. It was able to blast its way out, but the general principle is that planetary shields deflect both energy and physical objects, making not only things like orbital bombardment impossible, but also the landing of troops. That being said, a lot of the stuff here just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. On a basic level, the Republic Commando novels tell us that Republic forces were continually arriving to supplement the Republic Defense Fleet, which was mostly wiped out in the initial engagement. Well, was the shield up at that point? Was Coruscant taking portions down so the fleets could just reinforce their allies? What was going on here? Also, under what guise did the CIS invent for staying over the planet for multiple days? Because again, we do know that this was a prolonged engagement, maybe even up to a week. Obviously, the orders came on high from Sidious to Dooku to make sure that nothing happened happened until Obi-Wan and Anakin boarded the Invisible Hand. However, even General Grievous in the Revenge of the Sith novelization is just like, we should get out of here. Sure, it did take some time to actually capture the Chancellor, but after that, you've basically got the two fleets just slugging it out, and it doesn't seem like the CIS made any active effort to capture the planet, nor did they, for very long at least, have a ship advantage or a real chance of crushing the Republic military in one blow. I mean, even if they are trapped by the planetary shield, well, the shield generators are on the ground. They've got many capital ships, they've got many troops, there's no way they couldn't blast their way out. Again, the behavior from an out-of-universe perspective can be explained by Palpatine, but the fact that no one thinks this is a little bit odd is just confusing to me. If I were the CIS and I was spending days under the planetary shield, I would be bombing the crap out of the planet. You know, the Senate you've made various attacks on throughout the Clone Wars? Well, you can probably take it out with the well-placed turbo laser. And on that note, we have to wonder, of course Palpatine is an important person, but is it really worth having a battle with thousands of capital ships in the atmosphere of your most important planet just to protect one man? Trillions and trillions of people lived on Coruscant. Every single capital ship that is destroyed is heading towards the planet. Sure, some will burn up in atmosphere, but many won't. Stray turbo lasers, torpedoes, missiles, whatever else, if they're pointed towards the planet and they miss their target, well, that's an apartment block gone. Yet, in the movie, we see that there's still a battle raging as the Invisible Hand goes down, but everything seems to be a-okay. I guess what happened is once Palpatine was saved, the Republic lowered the shields completely, then the CIS just left. Logically, I guess you could make a timeline that works with Coruscant having planetary shields. Just like logically, you can make up excuses for why the CIS wouldn't leave, but practically, from an in-universe perspective, I think it would be clear that something was up. And either way, it doesn't make sense that Coruscant has this massive battle overhead, but hasn't been completely ravaged just across the planet. I mean, look at one ship that was well landed manages to do. I don't know, it just really to me shows a disconnect between the expanded universe and the movies. Most likely George never thought about the planetary shield whatsoever, but then from an expanded universe perspective, it makes no sense why Coruscant being invaded wouldn't have the shields raised. However, when you have the shields brought into the mix, well then there's a whole host of other problems, which could probably be explained by some lore saying that the generators were mostly destroyed, or that they weren't working at that point for whatever reason. But I don't know, this video is probably a little nitpicky, but it's just something that I've been kind of thinking about for the past few days. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you enjoy these sort of more rambly videos, or do you think they're just a stupid waste of time? Definitely open to either option. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day, have a good rest of the week, and as always, may the Force be with you.